Wonderful. Looks like the audio is fine. Again, a very warm welcome to everybody. Thank you for joining us today for the Ask Me Anything session with SRK. My name is Saurabh Kumar, and I'm on the marketing team here at H2O.ai. And we have with us today Kaggle Grandmaster, Senior Data Scientist at H2O.ai, and an NLP legend, Sudalai Rajkumar, aka SRK. Before we begin, we have uploaded the most popular. Let me just share my screen real quick so that. Yeah, so we have uploaded the most popular audience questions to Slido, and you can join the conversation at slido.com with hashtag AskSRK. You can upvote your favorite questions that you've already entered and ask us more questions as well. We will try to get most of them with the time permitting. Now, without further ado, welcome and thank you for joining us, SRK sir. Would you like to kick off the discussion before we get to the audience questions?
Yeah, sure. I'll just do a brief overview before we get to the audience questions. Thanks, Saurabh, for the introduction. I'll start sharing the screen.
Yeah.
I hope it is visible now.
Yes, it is.
Okay, thanks. Great. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Yeah, thanks for being on this Ask Me Anything meeting on a weekday morning. Thank you, everyone, and hope everyone is staying safe and healthy amidst this pandemic times. So, yeah, let's get started. Thanks. So, before we get started, I'd also like to thank the student for this opportunity, and I would like to share some of the things that we are doing. So, as part of the student AI. So, even as a company, our idea is to do AI for good. So that's one of the prime motive of the company. So and as we all know, so the story is being an open source leader in the cutting edge AI and ML for a long period of time, and we are also doing a lot of AI for good act initiatives. So please feel free to look at our website to know more about it. Okay, so a bit more about Festival.ai. So it's been established in Silicon Valley. So and it's there for about 8 years now. So and we have a lot of investors, and we have created a lot of open source machine learning platforms like Festo and also some of the closed source ones. And we are also global. We are located in multiple different places across different geographies. And say to talk a bit about our products. So like there is we have a couple of very good open source products like H2O, which runs with both Python and R, and I'm sure let's say most of you people have tried the store package or somewhere. And we also have the Spark version of the store called Sparkling Water. So these two are open source packages, and the advantage with these packages is it's easy to productionize the models that we could create with H2O. So I've also seen some of the questions about productionizing models. So say if you are interested into productionizing the models, then H2O is a very good package for that one. And also we also started a product called H2O Driverless AI, which is more into automated machine learning platform. So we also have a 21-day free trial version. So please feel free to download it and use it and try it on your own. And recently we also launched a new platform called Q. So this is a platform to build your own AI apps. So please feel free to have a look at it in our website and know more about it. So yeah, as such, like the company itself has been focusing more towards open source and in this COVID time. So we have been working a lot with multiple different NGOs and different companies and on how to overcome this COVID-19 pandemic. So yeah, thanks for the opportunity to give an intro to H2O. Uh, should we get started, Steve? Can we start with the questions?
Yes, absolutely. So the first and the most asked questions that all of us want to know, please share your journey. How did you become what you have become, the legend in NLP space?
Okay. Yeah, thanks a lot for the question. So, yeah, I'd be happy to share my journey. So, thanks for the question. So, I've got some of the questions before and from you people, and like say, I've also added a couple of slides on them. So, say about my journey. So, my journey, I mean, so I think like many of you people would have already known, but I still go ahead and share it. So, like, I started my career as a mechanical engineering graduate. So, when I came out of college, so I know nothing about, say, data science. Okay, not even about data science. I know nothing about uh, even programming or coding in the first place. So, but from there, like but the fortunate thing is like I've gotten into a analytics company. So after my college, so there I started learning everything right from basic coding and like say to the multiple different things about the data science. So so the thing is like so there are also quite a few questions about let's say how to move from say a complete beginner to learn data science. So the way I started learning is more like say usually I did a lot of courses in the platforms, MOOC platform. So actually that was the time when these platforms got started. So I did courses from Coursera and EDX and other platforms. And say once I did the courses and then like I was looking like how should I like actually practice them or have a hands-on experience on them? Because like say learning it from theory is more like learning it from college. So I also learned a lot about mechanical engineering and things about college. But if you ask me about that, so I don't know much about mechanical engineering. So I learned a lot. In fact, I got good marks as well. But say so if when I try to actually use, I mean, see how to utilize the theoretical knowledge and how to exactly get hands-on experience on them. So that's how like I started with Kaggle. So like and then like I started doing Kaggle and I got to with time I also become Kaggle Grandmaster, and apart from that even in the work wise, so I got to solve a lot of interesting problems. um, so that's my journey pretty much. So yeah. So if I'm able to do it, then like most of the people who don't have any background in the uh, programming or coding can also start and and also get to learn the data science. It's just time and the passion. So we need to spend and say it's I mean so I'm just keeping it brief, but say if you want to know about like what are the courses that I did and like what are some of the ways in which I become a data scientist. So I've answered this question. Are you a self-made data scientist? How did you do it in Quora? So you could see this in this link. So please feel free to read and know more about it. So yeah, so it's basically like reading the theory and then like following it up with hands-on uh, work in the data science projects. Yeah, that's mostly my
Thank you.
journey.
I'm sure that that's helpful to a lot of people. The next most popular question we have is, what are the opportunities where the data science community can contribute to the society in our current medical situation?
Great. Okay. So yeah, that's a very important question given the current situation. So like I mean, say even I was wondering, like, I mean, when it started, like, say, how we as a data scientist and how we have some of the technical knowledge, so can help mitigate or can help in fighting the COVID-19. So that's also the case with most of our colleagues and see even our CEO. So our CEO is one of the, I mean, guys who wants to do a lot of good for COVID-19, right? So these are some of the ways. So I'm putting Sri here. So data science can save lives today is an incredible force to do good for humanity. Say as a data scientist, if we want to contribute to some of these challenges. So these are some of the challenges that are currently in place, as you could see here. So, like, if I mean, say hospital staffing prediction. So, given like if you have to estimate that each hospital level or each county level or district level or state level, so like how much staff will be needed for the next I mean, 3 days, 1 week, or like even for a longer time frame. And so we could also see problems like say how would be the ICU transfer from like how many people will be getting into the ICUs and how many ventilators will be needing, and that could we could also, I mean, say data science could also help like do a segmentation on the population. So like say is this person uh, more likely to get affected, or like say this will it be mild or will it be less, kind of risk segmentation. And of course like the spread of COVID-19. So if other ways in which you could predict how much spread it will be in like each of the country, state, and different level. So, and supply chains, and then predicting the responses by cities and hospitals. So these are some of the ways. And apart from this, like I mean, so even there are AI is also trying to I mean, make use of image capabilities to see like from the X-rays or CT scans if we are able to predict COVID-19 much more efficiently, so that like say we could bring down the cost of prediction cost, not just the cost but as well as the time. So that's one other point. And also there are quite a few research papers that have been written by the researchers and doctors on COVID-19. So using some of the NLP techniques, so we could try to see like what I mean, say, are there any answers that we can get from for a particular question? For example, say reproductive number, so which is the R naught, to estimate how many people will get affected by this thing. So I mean, will get affected from a COVID-19 person. Then like I mean, there are quite a few papers. So if you could analyze all these different papers and come up with like what would be the good number, as in like estimates from different paper, and like we can combine all of them together to get a better number. So that's one another way in which like people who knows NLP can help. So irrespective of say whether it's I mean people who are an expert in say the image vision or NLP or time series or structured data, so we could like try to help the humanity so with some of these problems. So and like there are quite a few hackathons even going on even in Kaggle. So like where we could, so one is about the prediction part where we could try to predict the number of confirmed cases and fatalities in the next 1 month. And then there are also competitions with respect to NLP by say the CARD-19 dataset, so which is available, where we could try to see and analyze all these NLP literature papers and come up with the answers for some of the pressing questions. So yeah, so these are some of the ways in which we could solve the, I mean, we could contribute to solving the COVID-19 challenges. Of course, like say people, apart from these people who are directly working in the healthcare or the life sciences or pharma, so data science teams and the R&D teams I know of, they are helping with the R&D sequencing and the drug, new drug and the new vaccine creation part. So yeah, but even if we are not working in the life sciences or the pharma or healthcare, so like we could try to work on all these other supporting things to solve the COVID-19 challenge. And say from a H2O standpoint, so these are some of the things that we have tried, and like say we have also written some blogs about it. So like say please feel free to look at this one. So Marius and everyone and the team has done a very good job. So here, so we have written quite a few blogs around, let's say, as a data scientist, how we could contribute to solving the COVID-19 challenge. So this is some of the predictions that we got from uh, some for a country. So I think this is for Spain. So if you could go to this blog, you will get a detailed note on like how like the different data sources that we could use and like say the different methodologies that we could use and how to make predictions. So this is about the prediction part. So this second one is more about say at a for a hospital thing. So if we want to estimate the number of people who would be coming in, so that like we can optimize for like say, prepare for the number of beds here. So then that's also again a problem which we could solve. And there is another blog post by us, so which could help get started with this COVID. I mean solving the COVID-19 challenges. uh, yeah, that's mostly some of the ways in which, like, say, we as a data scientist can help contribute to the solving the problem part.
Thank you, sir. The next question ties into the same theme. What is the impact of COVID-19 in the data science world?
Okay, so yeah, that's a very interesting question. So basically, so yeah, I mean, we definitely see the impact of COVID-19 in all the domains and in all the like places as well. So say I mean, as a data scientist, say this will be I mean, a bit more impactful because say like when we build models or something. So uh, there will be a sudden shift in the distribution of the data. Like as a data scientist, so say probably like say if you do some kind of a forecasting, say sales forecasting. So due to this lockdown, like throughout the world, that will be like a sudden missing data for 3 months, or even say if we are doing some kind of a risk prediction for banks, then like say, there will be a sudden surge in the risk credit risk. So these are some of the things that will affect the data and that will change the distribution of the data. So like when we as a data scientist have to build models, then we need to take care of these things like in an effective way, so that like we I mean our model generalizes well for the uh, like during the COVID-19 period and the post COVID-19 period. So yeah, this will be some of the direct impact for data scientists, especially of the domain that we are working on. There will be the data shift or the distribution that we need to take care of. Yeah, thanks, SK. So
Thank
I
you,
hope that
sir.
answers.
Uh, Definitely. I'm sure that's helpful to a lot of people in the audience. Next question asks, how can we manage to collect data with respect to COVID-19, and what are the libraries and techniques we can use to scrape that data?
Okay, great. So this is one of my favorite questions that has been asked, to be honest, because say like I started collecting the data for the novel coronavirus data set. So one of the popular data sets that's been there in the Kaggle. So I mean, I mean, as important as say like building the models or say doing the analysis, the one of the very, I mean, most important or actually equally important is collecting the data and getting the data. So say even today, so some of the main problems we have is like even if we want to do the predictions on like how many people will get affected, so we don't have the data at the granular level. So there are multiple, say, if we take in India, so each of these states have been updating their data sets on their own in their websites, but most likely in the PDF format or HTML format. So like if we have to do some analysis, the first thing that we need to do is like to get the data and from these different sources and then like put them in one proper structured data format so that we could do our analysis. So yeah, so the thing is, I mean, so we could as a data scientist, so data collection is a very important part. So we could do this by using, say, in case if we are doing using Python. So I'm not a very expert Python programmer, but say like with respect to the data collection part, so we could make use of tools like request or a request to get the data Scrappy. That's a package called Scrappy, using which we could get the data from these web pages, and then like a beautiful soup. So there is this package called beautiful soup which could pass the HTML files, and using the HTML tag we could get a structured data format, and then we could start working on the data sets part. So I'm glad that like even Kaggle has created a data set section. So like say if you create a data set on your own, then like say we could share them in the platforms like Kaggle data set, so that like the other people need not go through the same painful process of creating the data all over again from the scratch and do it again. And that's also one main reason we have been needing some good COVID-19 data sets in Kaggle. So like if you, in case you haven't already seen, so we also have a COVID-19 in India data set. So that's been uploaded in Kaggle. So where we have been updating the information on the number of affected people that has been I mean, say, given by the Ministry of Health of India. So and also like the number of testing that we have been doing on a daily basis in India. So like both COVID-19 in India data set is also there, and also like the novel coronavirus data set. So thanks to Johns Hopkins University. So both these data sets are uh, we have been updating in the Kaggle. So in case like if you come across any good data sets, like, please feel free to get the data and upload it so that like other people can also use it for their analysis purpose. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm sure that is very, very helpful, and a lot of people have been working towards resolving a lot of these similar issues. The next question, directs towards our community and of users and asks, what are the best sources to learn H2O and its platforms?
Uh, Great. Okay, so yeah, so that's I mean, so I would say if you ask me like what's the best way to learn anything, so the best way to learn anything is by doing it. So like coming to H2O, so like if we have to learn about the open source H2O, there is quite a few resources that are available even in Coursera. There's a course on like about learning H2O. So please feel free to take this course, and there are quite a few very good blog posts and journals and notebooks and that are available on H2O, so we could learn from that. And for say if we have to try using the driverless, and I also see some people asking like how to uh, get access to driverless AI. So like whether they could use. So we also have a trial version. So like we could download the trial version, and like and it will and we could use it for 21 days. So we could download the trial version, and so there are quite a few resources about how I mean how to use driverless AI in our YouTube channel. So we also have a very good documentation, I would say, for driverless AI. The YouTube channel and the documentation are good ways to like make use of it and learn about it. So so we can do that. So that's about the driverless AI part. So and also in our website, so we have the links to multiple different resources. So please have a look at them as well.
Thank you. The next popular question is how to get started with NLP and what is the learning path?
Okay, great. So, okay, this is again a very good question. So, NLP is obviously a very trending field, and like I mean, there are quite a few good resources that are available in the open source domain which we could use to uh, learn about NLP. So, like I mean, there are multiple good resources. So I would mention two, three of them. So, like say from a book standpoint, so I like the I mean, speech and language processing book by Jurafsky and others et al. So that's a very good book on NLP. So if you have to understand the basics of NLP, and like say that's a very I mean that's been written and like say re-edited for quite some time. So it's a very good book. So if you want to understand the basics of NLP and to know more about it, so I would recommend the Speech and Language Processing by Jurafsky book. So, like, if you want to learn the NLP from a modern standpoint, say with respect to the deep learning and stuff, so the CS224N course by Stanford, so it's the NLP with deep learning, so that's a very good course. So which is there in the NLP, and again, so apart from this course, so I also like that top-down approach. So even FastAI has a new course on NLP that has been released last year. So that's again a very good course. So like where you get to code things and then go back and learn about the math and the concepts behind them. So these are some two three good resources from which we can learn NLP. And of course, like say once we learn, I mean there are kind of a couple of two interesting projects that have been going on in the Kaggle as well. Please feel free to directly jump in and work on them. Thank you.
Thank you. The final question for the session: how to become a Kaggle Grandmaster?
Okay, that's a okay. So say like if you haven't already started the Kaggle journey, so like I think I would say that the time to start is today. So because like if someone with novice to experts with decades of experience, we always get to learn a lot of new things. So even people I know of, and including me, so we go there to learn all these new techniques that have been coming up in Kaggle. So like say if I mean this is one of the questions that has been asked again and again. So but I'm always like when I or any other say that there is no single secret star, so there is always some disappointment, but that is the truth to be told. But say in order to say be an expert in the data science generally, like it's about sticking to the basics, and especially in the Kaggle. So it's sticking to the basics, by which I mean like there is, I mean say especially like we as a data scientist should have learned the concept of underfitting, overfitting, everything in that theoretical standpoint. But say when we try to take part something in a Kaggle competition or a hackathon, then like that's where like these theoretical concepts will come into play. So we'll be tempted by the public leaderboard that has been shown in the Kaggle page, and we'll try to mark that as a submission. But say we should always believe our cross-validated score so that it generalizes well on the unseen data. So these are the concepts that uh, like the basic things which we have learned, but we could be able to understand it more clearly, like by taking part in Kaggle. So we need to keep on doing that, and so learning new things. So we also need to always learn new things. So if we have to become like an expert and become a master grandmaster in Kaggle, so that I mean this is a fast changing field and everything is getting new day by day. So we have to say in case if we take part in the NLP competition today. So like say few years back, so most of the people were using just DFIDF and then Word and Visual. So now it's all about Word and the variations of Word. So we should always be open to learn new things and like say try out new experiments and yeah, so I implement them. And then like one another thing is working as a team. So one another main point, at least in my journey, is like say after initially a few competitions, I also started working with multiple different people across multiple different continents like Mark, Marios, Rohan, etc. So that like say this team building helps help me like improve my thought process, improve my coding skills, improve my data science skills and everything. So working as a team will definitely help. And again, like failing fast. So one other thing in general about data science itself is like if I mean we can't certainly tell like if we do this it will result in this. So it's always probabilistic. So we there will be like multiple different experimentations that we need to do, and like say failing fast. So if we take part in Kaggle and like say and if we continue to do that, like say we'll understand uh, how to do rapid experimentation. So like and like only one in say 20 30 of the ideas will work out. So one another thing is like we also need to develop a structured and logical thinking process. Like we need to become an expert because say if something fails and then like what would be my logical next step? What should I do next to help me improve my model? So these are some of the things that we could develop as we start working on a tagging problem. But okay, so these are some of the things that we need to develop, and that some of the habits or some of the traits that we need to develop to become an expert data scientist or a Kaggle Grandmaster. But I would say above all, like one most important point is perseverance. So I mean, I've seen all these different Kaggle Grandmasters, and one thing that is common across every one of them is perseverance, because like it takes a lot of time. Definitely, it takes a huge amount of time, but and there will be a lot of time when like people have to give up something like say their favorite entertainment or some good family time, but people try to spend a lot of time with perseverance, and there will be a lot of failures in between. So, but we should not give up in between, and if we just be there, like continue to crawl, then like we can become an expert data scientist or Kaggle Grandmaster anytime. So, and one other good thing or one other nice thing now with Kaggle is like say, in addition to the competitions part, so which is the prediction part, which is still more important, as in more, not more important, as in it's been widely recognized. So there is this, say if you are more interested in doing analysis, so we could take part in say the dashboards, as in the Kaggle notebooks or Kaggle kernels. I mean, there are quite a few good people like Martin Henstetter, Sales, Anisotrophic, and Aparul. So these are some of the people who has like try to create some very good Kaggle notebooks to help other people. So we could also spend our time there, and we could even like start contributing to that data set spot and help other people. So these are in addition to the competition. So we could always uh, we could also have a look at these other sections and try to contribute to the data science community to that way like also helping us building our portfolio. Thank you. Yeah.
Great. These are the questions that we had the time for. Any final thoughts, sir, before we conclude?
Uh, okay, so there is no final thoughts, but I request everyone to stay safe and stay healthy in this COVID time. So that's the most important thing. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you again, SRK sir, for taking the time today. And thank you to our audience for joining. I hope you all are staying very safe and taking good care of yourself. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, everybody.